Hello and welcome to another episode of my YouTube channel. Today I am joined by someone special to me. He might kind of look like me, so I'll let him introduce himself.
My name is Amare Chatman. This is my mom, and I'm excited to be here.
Now, you wanted to come on today to ask me a little bit about myself, which you know a lot about me, but
Yes.
what is it that you wanted to learn about with this sit-down interview today?
Just kind of your mind about bodybuilding as a whole. I never really got to ask you as many questions as I wanted to about just your idea of what you think bodybuilding is to you.
Okay.
So that's kind of what I want to learn.
Do you remember the first competition I did?
Not really.
That's because you were 5.
Well, yeah, that was a long time ago, so it makes a big difference.
Yes, it does. And now how old are you?
19.
Okay, so you've been around bodybuilding your whole life for the most part.
Yeah, I remember you told me that you were going to do a show when you were pregnant with me, and then you were wondering why you couldn't lose weight.
Well, yeah, that's true. And there you are.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll let you ask the questions. You're going
Okay.
to interview me today.
Well, first question I have is just about your motivation. How do you keep yourself kind of motivated even through like tough times of where you just don't feel like working out, or you don't feel like you want to eat the same food every single day? Like how do you train your mind so that you're able to just keep going even when it's tough?
That's a great question. So one thing that you have to think about, especially as a bodybuilder,
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to be motivated every day.
Mm-hmm.
So then we have to start looking at dedication and consistency
Okay.
and the goals. Definitely every day I do not wake up saying, I can't wait to go work out. It's 4 a.m. I feel so good. No. But I am dedicated to waking up at a certain time,
Mm-hmm.
and I meal prep my food, so that's already ready for me. I have to make sure that I hit certain goals with my lifting, with my cardio.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have a very, specific show date, I have very specific things that I have already laid out on my plan for the day. If I check everything off on the list for the day, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
If you miss some things, that's where you start getting in trouble. But the motivation comes and goes, but the dedication has to be there every day.
So pretty much you try to keep a routine almost?
Not almost, absolutely.
Okay.
It has to be.
Okay.
If you're not 100% on, you're probably messing something up. And that routine has to be there, and you have to plan in advance. It has to be planned out.
So even with the meal prepping, do you think it's hard to just kind of eat the same thing every day? Does it get tiring for you?
I don't eat the same thing every day.
It feels like the same thing every day.
But I got very creative with putting the meals together. So I actually don't like the same exact thing every day, but I will prep 2 or 3 different types of proteins. I will make, the proteins a different way. I like to use a grill, and I'll come up with my own marinades, so the food is good. It's not, it's good, right?
Yes.
Your mom can cook a little bit.
A little bit.
But, the food itself, the baseline is going to be pretty much the same.
Mm-hmm.
Green veggies, lean proteins, and whatever starchy carbs that are good for you for whatever space you're in. But I like things to taste good, so I spend a lot of time on the marinades and the preparation so that I know I'm still going to want to eat it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the grill is good.
Okay. Kind of to switch gears a little bit, I do have like a kind of more overarching question to ask you.
Okay.
What do you think that your kind of impact on the world of bodybuilding as a whole, like what do you think it is, just from your perspective?
That's a great question. The first show that I did back in 2010, I just went out there to see what I could do.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, my whole world was, can I get on the stage? I have 2 little kids, and can I do this? So really, bodybuilding had a big impact on me. Then when I figured out, okay, I'm pretty good at this,
Mm-hmm.
I won that first show. Then some of the other ladies in the gym said, hey, Alondra, we want to try too. So for sure, inside the gym, Inner Athlete, that now impacted some of the folks that worked out there. And you see now we've grown and been doing this for many years now.
Yeah.
But for me personally, on the stages that I've been on now, because I've been to Greece, and with the Natural Olympia, I've won that 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
So there are quite a few people in the bodybuilding world who know Alondra as the figure champion. So, so 3 times for me, I think that was an incredible accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
And there are lots of people who have come up to me and said, Alondra, you inspired me to get on the stage or start competing. And that's amazing. That's amazing. I have people all over the world that I've spoken to and interact with that said I was an inspiration to them. So that's pretty awesome.
Okay. Well, I think that kind of was a good segue into my next question. I would say, what would you think is your biggest accomplishment, but also your most favorite accomplishment that you had in your entire career?
Biggest accomplishment was probably the 3-time win.
Mm-hmm.
Not only because it was the 3rd time, but also because of the injury I sustained right before the show.
That was your shoulder, right?
That was the shoulder, yes.
Okay.
So getting on the stage was not only painful, but mentally that was super challenging. And then to win was amazing, especially 3 times. My favorite was probably my first Natural Olympia win because I had been working for that for years.
Yeah.
And had come back from 4th place in 2018. And, Joelle and I got in the lab and worked on the shoulders and came back to win the next year. That was definitely my favorite win. However, I will say my favorite trip was to Greece.
Yeah.
Because the food was amazing, the company was amazing. We went to a bunch of different places in Greece and ate a lot of good food, and that was probably my favorite competition. Traveling, I like to travel. And then Muscle Beach Show was probably my favorite here in California. It was the one show that was outside on the beach. It was very interesting for people to be walking by and looking, trying to see what's going on in there. That was a fun show.
Okay. All right. Well, my next question is just about your opinion. What is your honest opinion about natural bodybuilding versus non-natural bodybuilding?
For me personally, I will always be a natural bodybuilder. I have 1 kidney, so my health is above and beyond everything most important. So I don't have a lot of leeway taking chances with any extra enhancements or not. I have to just work hard.
Okay.
I absolutely respect anybody who gets on the bodybuilding stage, whether they take enhancements or not. You still got to work hard.
Yeah.
It's a personal choice for whoever is using or not, and it depends on what's right for you. Mm-hmm. But I don't have an opinion. My athletes are all natural. I am, and that's just kind of what I choose to do.
Okay. And do you think that the natural leagues deserve more recognition for just the amount of work that they put in, even if compared to the non-natural athletes? It might be the same amount of work, but I still think that you're not really getting as much recognition. People don't really know about the natural leagues as much as the non-natural leagues. A lot of people, their perspective is most bodybuilders are on drugs. They don't really believe that there's such a thing as natural. Yeah. So do you think that people should start to, what can you do to kind of push out the word more about natural bodybuilding?
It would be great if we had more recognition. Mm-hmm. It would be great. We did the Generation Iron documentary back in 2019 when they followed me at the gym and down to Vegas and kind of covered that whole show. And that definitely put us out there a little bit, but there was a lot of resistance to it. Mm-hmm. People want to see the enhanced physiques, and they were not as interested in what we do. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that the natural leagues definitely have not had that larger platform over the years. Mm-hmm. I've been competing with the natural league for 15 years, and there is not the same recognition. Their stages are smaller. The people who show up, not as many.
Prizes aren't as much money.
Prizes are not as much money, so it doesn't have the same draw.
Mm-hmm.
But we definitely are putting in the same amount of work, and we definitely deserve the same recognition. But at the end of the day, it's about who's tapping in, watching, who's coming to the shows and paying to see them. So what I've personally seen is there's a lot of resistance because they want to see the freaks, right? They want to see people who are beyond what a natural body can do.
Mm-hmm.
However, there are amazing athletes in the natural leagues.
Yeah.
They do the work, they look amazing. It's not what you see people walking around at any average gym looking like, not the folks who are winning these shows. So they deserve the recognition.
Okay. And what would you say is like the hardest part about being a bodybuilder?
The hardest part, I would say, is balancing your whole life.
Okay.
It's not just working out, that's easy. Cardio, no problem. Nutrition, you have to stay on it, and that's not necessarily always easy, but you still have a life, and you still have responsibilities. You still have kids, and they have to go to school, and you still have, parents and work and everything else, and then you still have to figure out how to line it all up so that everything gets done and you do your bodybuilding. So that's probably the hardest part.
Do you think it kind of made it a little bit easier that you, as a whole, your entire life is about just working out? You own 2 gyms. You've been a personal trainer for as long as I can remember. So do you think that kind of made it a little bit easier for you to just push your life more in towards bodybuilding?
For me personally, it was an easy transition because I like competitive sports and I'm in the gym, obviously, but that doesn't make it necessarily easy for me to get my workouts because people always ask me for things, and even though I'm doing my workouts, people want to interrupt, so that's not necessarily easy.
Okay.
But for me, it definitely was an easy transition into bodybuilding because I enjoyed it.
Kind of a question about just your entire career. Throughout your career, you've done a lot of things, but is there anything that you wish you could have changed or that you would have done differently?
If I could have, I would have started earlier. If I could have started training, I would have done that a lot earlier in life, like coming probably right out of college. I definitely appreciated what I learned while I worked at Visa. I learned the business side of things, but I definitely, and there wasn't too much downtime between there, but I would have liked to start training a little bit earlier.
Why?
Well, mostly because that's my passion. And even while I was at Visa, I was training before work, after work, weekends. So it was always kind of somewhere in there, but I definitely could have pursued a career in athletics right out of school.
Okay. I have one more question for you, and it's about kind of same topic about your career. Even if the outcome wasn't the same, do you think you would have done like bodybuilding as a whole, like again? Like if you went back in time and you were given the choice to kind of live out your career, even if it wasn't the same, would you still do it?
I'm sure I would.
Okay.
I'm sure I would. Somehow I started in the realm of health and fitness with my goals going to college. And even with that sidebar going and working in the business field, I still came back to fitness. And I don't think that would ever change as far as my passion and what I want to do. I enjoy my time with my clients probably the most out of everything that I do. I do, of course, like my own workouts, but my time with my clients and sewing into them, seeing them hit their goals, seeing them get to the stage, that's what I enjoy doing.
Okay. And do you think a lot of people take your advice to heart? Even, just because of the kind of aura you have, you're a 3-time champion, you're probably, in my opinion, one of the best in the sport. So do you think people really take a lot, what you say, very heavily?
No.
You think so?
Well, no. They will probably listen to it, but that doesn't mean they will implement it.
Okay.
That's a different thing.
Okay.
So yes, they will understand, like, yes, she probably knows what she's talking about. Although, even in the gym this morning, I'm like, see, you do need to roll out. You do need to do all these things.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, you feel better after you're done. I know a couple things.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's people are people, right? So after a few times and they consistently see the changes and the body feels better and they see some, physique changes and improvements, then they listen, but it takes
some time.
It takes some time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's all I have for you. Do you have any questions for me?
Of course I do.
Okay.
Are you going to be a bodybuilder?
No.
No?
It's not my thing. I mean, I like competitive sports like you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a very competitive person, but I don't think I can see myself, becoming a bodybuilder. It's not really my thing.
You're not trying to display that physique?
No, I mean, I do want to get a little bigger,
Okay.
just like you, but
like me?
yeah, but I'm not really, that's not really my thing. I don't really want to.
Okay, but you just started jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
How are you enjoying that?
It's good. I mean, besides the fact that I'm sore all the time and, my body hurts after I do it, but I enjoy learning about different things. Like, I like just kind of opening my mind up to see different perspectives, As I've been doing it, looking at kind of more like professional fighting and sports and stuff like that, it's kind of allowed me to understand it a lot more. I guess when you go into it not understanding like the moves and how people do things, set up, stuff like that, I think it's hard to kind of get an idea of how much work they put in to get to the level that they are.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's kind of opened my mind to just the perspective of how hard these people work and how much effort they put into everything that they do. And it's kind of helped me understand you a little bit more as well, because it's not easy to become a professional athlete.
No, it is not.
And the amount of time and days and hard work that you put in, most people can't do that.
Most people can't do that because they won't put in that effort on the times that no one's looking.
Yeah.
The extra research that you have to do.
Yeah.
That's where the pro athletes will actually excel, when they do the things that
nobody else
sees.
Yeah.
No one sees and nobody is willing to do. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Is that your final answer on the bodybuilding?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not for me. It's not for me.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that I gave you some insight into my world.
You definitely did.
Okay, excellent. And thank you all for joining us, and hopefully Amare's questions gave you a little more insight into my world. Join us again next time, where I will have another beautiful athlete who has graced the stage on my team, and we'll get a little bit of her world and what that looks like. Right. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you back next time.